And now it's time for Judge Joe Brown. He's the real deal in the courtroom today.
My ex borrowed money and stopped paying when we broke up.
I've paid her everything, so I owe her nothing.
A woman whose motto is get 'em young and train 'em right. Plaintiff Anna Traylor is suing her ex-boyfriend for credit card charges. Defendant Brennan Bungay says he paid the plaintiff in full. Now, here's Judge Joe Brown.
You first. Tell me what you're talking about.
I've known Mr. Bungay for about 8 years, and in late 2006, he needed money for his rent, car insurance.
You two were romantically involved.
We were friends with benefits.
All right.
So there was never...
You were giving him a little instruction.
For the most part. But I was also
You were a little young when you first took up with him 8 years ago.
Well, get him young and train him right, you know. So,
young and train him right. Experience
yes.
no longer preferred, but definitely seek young trainee.
Anyway, he needed money for various living expenses, rent, insurance for his car, and so forth. So I loaned him money for this, and he started paying me back. He needed more money. I loaned him. And in October of 2006, I had went into the hospital for an extended period of time and transferred money into his account to pay for my bills, my own rent, and various other payments I needed to make. And
you had him pay out of your accounts, right?
I transferred money into an account. I had to get money orders for parking tickets, stuff like that. And at that time, he asked if he could borrow money to purchase a bicycle that he was going to be able to get a good deal on. Because,
a bicycle?
Yes, because he worked at a bicycle warehouse place. And I agreed to that one purchase when I received the bank.
I would have expected a down payment on a car, but a bike.
Well,
okay, I guess
a bicycle, yes. And
no
when I
training
received my,
wheels, did it? It didn't have training wheels, did it?
I'm not sure. I was in the hospital at the time. So, and when I received my statement, there was 2 other purchases that were not approved or agreed to by myself.
So what you're talking about is on credit, debit card purchases. The net total you say he owes you, or the balance at this point, is $1,078.
True.
You say out of the entire amount he had repaid you $1,020. Is that right?
That's true.
Now, let's go to the defendant. How say you?
Sir, that's kind of true, but not the full truth. I did borrow money from her. I have paid her back. I did stand by her whole side while she was in the hospital and helped her out with her bills and did nothing but help her. She lent me the money, and I paid it back. It's pretty as simple as that.
What's that?
I have the records from my bank account.
Okay. Pass me up your bank statements.
I had a list that I was making myself that showed all the payments that I was made. She has stolen that from me, just like she's stolen my cell phone.
Stole it?
Yeah, she came to my house and took it.
Do you have bank statements?
Yes. They're right here.
What'd she do, kick down the door?
No, I let her in my house.
And how did she steal it?
Yeah.
On the wall.
Not only that, I've been
up
harassed.
against the wall.
I've been harassed.
I'm checking the place out. Where you keep it?
Right.
I'm not
That
playing.
makes no sense.
Don't make me do what I'll do if you don't cooperate.
She knows where all my records are and where I keep all my personal things.
Well, why would she know where all your records are?
Because she knows everything about me, and also I live in a little...
Oh, that's right. Young trainee, she's molding you.
Yeah. Also, I live in a 1-bedroom, small apartment, so it's not like there's a bunch of stuff you got to go through to find it.
No.
Second of all, I've been harassed numerous times. My friend has been harassed, and I got all the records of that.
I haven't harassed Mr. Bungay. I've only...
Let him go. Let him talk. Keep going.
I got a police report here that proves I have been harassed.
Well, did the police witness it?
The police came because she was at my house.
Well,
and
what did they say?
money.
She's out of control, Your Honor. She can't just come to my house whenever she wants and create a scene and yell at the top of her lungs when I've been making payments and I've been agreeing to the agreement.
These are your records.
Yes, sir.
It adds up to $960.
And if you look at the other 2 that I borrowed from her,
200. That's 1,160. But that still doesn't quite take care of the debt.
Each time Mr. Bungay made a payment, I would write it down. It's not as if I'm not giving him credit for any.
Yeah, probably on the list she took from me.
You had other recordations that she took
sir.
from you?
That's
I can't prove that she took it from me,
because that's not the
but
case.
I do have the proof of the harassment and all that when I
What's
have made the
that got
payments.
to do with the loan obligation? Are you saying tortious collection practices?
It has nothing to do with the loan. It has everything to do with the full situation on what I've been going through with this girl.
Go on.
I got nothing more to say. I paid her her money that I owed her.
Give me your proof.
I just showed it to you in my bank statements.
That shows $1,160 is paid.
Okay.
Still leaves $507.
Where? I thought the total was like 1,200.
No, it's 1,667 plus 431. Excuse me, I didn't add that on there.
I was never aware of that.
That's $938 remaining as a balance. Giving you credit for the 200 that you say your girlfriend. Come on. You the girlfriend now?
She's just a friend.
Friend.
Actually, I'm not a girlfriend.
He live with you?
Absolutely not.
How did you happen to be over there to give him $200 so that could be tended to her?
He, for a few weeks, was very nervous and had a lot of anxiety in his life, and he was afraid to go home.
A lot of anxiety in his life. What's that?
Because Anna sleeps in her car in front of his house, and she makes scenes, wakes up his neighbors, and stalks him, basically. So he would crash.
Why is that supposed to make a grown man afraid of anything? That makes him a little apprehensive of a scene.
It doesn't
May
make me-
get on his last nerve.
So that's why he called the
It
police.
doesn't make me afraid to go home. I can't go home.
We'll be right back with Judge Joe Brown.
She impersonated me and put an ad on Craigslist. She listed my first name and my phone number that she stole from his cell phone. And I got all kinds of calls from all kinds of weird men all over the country.
What's your relationship with him?
We're friends.
What kind of friend?
Friends. And I am not his girlfriend.
And later today,
We were partying, and by the time we left the first bar, he was so intoxicated, jumping up and down, trying to play with my sunroof. Yeah. And then he sat on my iPod, which was in my center console. I have proof, right? I have pictures right here.
One iPod.
Yeah,
Nice.
that white part is the connector. That's what he broke.
Your Honor, it was Cinco de Mayo, but I don't know if I was sitting in the center console.
You were.
It's Joe time after this.
we're back with Judge Joe Brown. The defendant in this case admits to borrowing money from the plaintiff, but says he paid her back. He says he kept records of his accounting, but that the plaintiff stole them. Let's take a look.
Why'd you loan him $200?
Because she Craiglisted me. She
What?
She impersonated me and put an ad on Craigslist. She listed my first name and my phone number that she stole from his cell phone. And I got all kinds of calls from all kinds of weird men all over the country. And he came over to my house, and I told him, I was like, Brennan, what she did to Courtney, she just did to me. And, Your Honor, she just did it again yesterday. In any case, I wanted that to stop. And I said to Brennan, I said, what do we need to do?
What's your relationship with him?
We're friends.
What kind of friend?
Friends.
Why
We're
are you?
friends with benefits. So.
Well,
No, I'm friends with his roommate, Derek. We all live in the same neighborhood. We go to the beach, we hang out. It's just, I mean, it's not.
why all of you robbing the cradle? What's the anxiety here that makes you do
I'm
that?
29 years old. There ain't no cradle.
I'm not involved.
Yeah, compared to them, yes.
I'm not involved with him, Your Honor. We're friends.
You're not. Well, why are you playing his stand-in mama and loaning him money? That's how you got in this problem.
I
to begin
wanted
with.
her to be out of my life. I didn't invite her in. She harassed me. But
That's how you get rid of somebody, by reinforcing negativity?
No.
All right, you've been hassling me, so I'll submit to the general extortion. Here's $200, be gone.
Brennan said he still owed $200. I said, okay, I'll
It
pay
was
the.
between me and her, not between her and
It was
Anna.
just a loan. It was a loan to Brennan. It is not a gift, and I am not his girlfriend.
A loan. Well, that's the problem that she's here for. It was a
Exactly.
loan.
You know what? I'm not her. And I don't do that kind of behavior, and I don't write those kind of words on the internet. I am not her. We have an agreement between us. He will pay me back when he can. Both of us are working 2 jobs right now, so we are good for it.
Why don't you ladies let these boys grow up to be men and either sink or swim on their own efforts? They're going on 30, quit playing mama. Shows up with a pair of tennis shoes to deal with arbitration, and it's like he's 15. Do you have a job, son?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Mechanic.
You work 40 hours a week?
I was.
You're not now.
No, sir, not this second.
Why is it past tense instead of now?
Because he got fired.
I actually got laid off because it was slow.
That's not what he had told me.
But he's
Yes, you deal with a luxury fun item, motorcycles. Now, sometime along this timeline, we're going to have to man up. The ladies need a little rest from trying to play man and woman all at the same time. You need to take care of your responsibilities. Just because it was made available to you doesn't mean you have to accept it.
Your Honor, I have
Now,
taken care of my
be quiet,
responsibilities.
son. I'm trying to make a man of you. And over here, I'm trying to resolve this problem so you don't make a bigger fool of yourself than you have. And over here, so you don't make a worse problem than we've already got in hand. So I'm splitting the difference, $500 in your cost. That's the award. Now, enough, be gone, leave it, move on. You paid the blame.
This courtroom is now in recess.
Bye.
The defendant and his witness described a desperate and disturbed plaintiff. They say she crossed the line with him and his friends, but the plaintiff says she was just trying to collect. She gets most of it. Now, we're on to the next case.
Please raise your right hand.
Business owner Sarah Schlicht is suing her ex-friend for an iPod connector. Defendant Joseph Korich says they were both messing around when it broke.
Tell me about it.
We were partying. I met him at one bar. I was giving him a ride to another
You
bar.
just met him?
No, I had known him a few weeks. And by the time we left the first bar, he was so intoxicated. He was getting so rowdy in my car, jumping up and down, trying to play with my sunroof. Yeah. And then he sat on my iPod, which was in my center console. I have proof I have pictures right here.
Your Honor, for one thing, the iPod was not broke. The connector was bent.
One iPod.
Yeah,
device.
that white part is the connector. That's what he broke.
Your Honor, she said I was sitting in the center console?
You were.
Yes, you were bouncing around according to
You were
her
rowdy.
allegations on the center console.
That's
Drunk
the.
as the proverbial skunk.
It was Cinco de Mayo, but I don't know if I was sitting in the center console.
You were.
He was riding the hump.
And I'm sure he doesn't remember. He was probably blacked out. That's why he said he didn't want to pay for it.
He says
said I
he
wouldn't pay
does
for it.
remember that you and he were both playing with the iPod, therefore he shouldn't be responsible when they were both playing with it.
But I was
Playing
sober.
with it, sir, is different from sitting on it and breaking it.
Slightly.
Same
Which
difference.
will not make a connection
And we
anymore.
listened to it weeks after.
1 week after you fiddled with it
And
to
I
get
offered,
it to connect.
I offered to pay, or not to pay for it, to fix it, Your
Actually, you
Honor.
did. How can you fix it? It's an
You don't
installed
fix
item.
this
Because
modular.
I'm good with stereos, Your Honor.
It's not a stereo. It's a
Unitized
connector.
stuff. You just replace
It's
the
connected to the
modular
back of the
device.
Ultimate
stereo.
Electronics couldn't fix it. They said they had to replace
you
the
don't
whole
fix
thing.
that.
Well,
It's
then
all
that's sorry
plug
for-
in. You get
for
rid of that off of the main adapter and you get another one.
It's a $20 cord.
No,
And then you pull out-
70.
with installation, it was a lot more than
Installation,
20.
it was 50.
No installation, 70 for the part. You just plug it in.
Yeah.
Surely $70 is not too extreme for your financial circumstances.
No, but I offered to I offered to fix it, Your Honor, and I didn't.
You don't fix stuff like that. You know,
It's
you got a
simple.
recharging device for your cell phone and you break the plug in. Do you sit there and try to tape it up and everything else, or do you go get another one?
No, but I don't find the highest person I can to install it.
That's
when
where I had the original one
I've installed
and I
stereos
trusted them.
for years. Installed.
Do you know how to
uninstalled.
install a music port? Do you know how to take apart
Yes,
the
I do.
console? Well, why didn't you do it then?
Because you wouldn't let me. You said no.
BS.
We'll be back with more Judge Joe Brown in a moment.
I was drunk, so I cannot say exactly what happened, but I feel I was probably blamed for what we both did.
Closed captioning sponsored by...
We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The defendant in this case admits to being drunk on the night that plaintiff's iPod connector broke. He doesn't feel responsible for replacing it since he wasn't the only one goofing around. Let's take a look.
What's the problem?
She could have paid me $70 for installation.
Do you do that to earn a living?
No.
Can you guarantee the quality of the
I have made money
performance?
off of it, but I'm not certified.
And it was functioning when you got in the vehicle.
And it was functioning after.
After you fooled with it, you had to hold it down to get it to play.
Well, you know, I was drunk, so I cannot say exactly what happened, but I feel I was probably blamed for what we both did.
I was sober. Why would I break my own iPod?
For goodness sakes. How do you know her?
She's a friend.
How did you happen to be riding with her on the day in question, or the evening in
Well,
question?
we were at a bar, obviously, and we were headed to another bar.
It was
We were
Cinco de
both
Mayo.
drinking.
Why with her?
I don't know.
Well, didn't you have...
At the time, Your Honor, I did
stop.
not know what he was like.
Stop. Didn't you have other options? Did you?
At that night? Well,
Yeah, you did.
Be quiet. I'm not asking you
to
the
have other
question.
options to get from one bar to the other?
Yes. Did you have other
There's
options?
always options. Buses, taxis.
Why didn't you take one of the other options and instead of riding with her?
Because she offered.
You accepted her gracious
Well,
extension
why
of
would I not?
hospitality.
Yes, I did.
So, have you had any reason prior to this to distrust the plaintiff?
No, but I offered to fix it.
No. We have the port and the capacitor cord, total $64.98 with $4.22 sales tax for a total of $69.20.
Yes, if I'd say that, that's mostly installation, being it that I know these types of
That's not
clothes.
what's listed in that. That's the parts. It's noted as carry out from the floor.
Oh, and then there was a $4 installation? Or
No,
Actually-
that's tax, $4.22. She's not asking for installation. She's asking for the price. Those are the parts.
All right.
It's not installation. You had no reason to distrust her before. You rode with her. You availed yourself of her hospitality. Now be a gentleman. Just make sure the lady's not aggrieved over here. It's her iPod. She needs her music.
Not very good music at that.
Well, it's got the capacity for a
Better than
lot of
yours.
music to download. That's her choice.
Judge Joe Brown makes his ruling after this.
In a custody battle with your ex over the family pet? Call 877-JOE'S-LAW or visit JudgeJoeBrown.com.
What's the problem?
Your Honor, there is no problem. I offered to fix it. That's my main...
Not fix. You don't fix solid-state
Buy a
electronics.
cord
You
and
replace the modules.
It's one cord. I would have bought one cord and installed it.
Well, if you would have bought one cord, I'm looking at the price. The necessary port that goes to it, the adapter and the cord comes to $64.98 plus $4.22 tax. Since you were going to do it anyway, let's get it out of the way, clear up this misunderstanding. $69.20 rounded off to $70 in her cord cost. There you go.
And this courtroom is now in recess.
If today's bickering was any indication, I can only imagine how these two would behave after a few cocktails. We'll see. He's gonna pay. We'll be right back. We're back. The defendant seemed peeved that the plaintiff was blaming him for both their rowdy behavior. He also seemed annoyed that he wasn't given the chance to fix the problem himself. He'll just have to be peeved and annoyed and out $70.
To submit your case to Judge Joe Brown or to find out how the law can work for you, go to JudgeJoeBrown.com.